Bringing you the news from here at home and across the world, live from the Newsfirst studios in Colombo. A very good evening. This is Prime Time News. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
And I'm Madhushka Balasurya. Let's start off with a look at your headlines.
An inmate who attempted to flee shot near the Casbaba court. Suspect arrested over the abuse and murder of a girl in Batticaloa. Police to reward 1 million rupees for any information on missing girl from Nikadalupota. Polls chief says all campaign officers in the Uva province must be removed in a week.
Moving on to the stories in detail now. 2 suspects who attempted to flee the custody of prison officials while at the Casbaba court complex were shot at today. One suspect who suffered injuries has been admitted to the Colombo South Teaching Hospital for treatment.
According to the police, the suspect had attempted to flee while they were disembarking from the prison transport bus. The prison's bus came and went inside. They opened the doors to let out prisoners. Then he made a run for it. Prison's guard shot at them. They jumped over a wall and the officials found them shot in a paddy field nearby.
He made a run for it and ran out of the court complex. About 2 or 3 people started shooting.
According to the police, the suspect was taken into custody around 500 meters away from the court complex.
He broke through the gate and jumped from over here. There were 2 trousers belonging to my son. Both have bullet holes.
The other suspect who attempted to flee was also taken into custody. Prison spokesperson Tushara Upuldene stated that broad investigations have been launched into the incident.
Moving into another one of our headline-making stories, the police say that they are yet to receive any solid information on 4-year-old Pamara Keshani Bandara Vijayakun, who is alleged to have been abducted from Nikadalupota, Kurunegala. The girl was abducted in the early hours on Tuesday while she was asleep at her home.
The Inspector General of Police announced today that a reward of 1 million rupees will be given for any information that could lead to the whereabouts of the missing child. Several police and a team of CID officers are conducting investigations into the disappearance. If you have any information that could lead to the discovery of Pamara Keshani Bandara Vijayakun, you can contact the numbers 0112 422 176 or 0113 024 245 or 0777 223 095.
Now, in the recent past, several cases of abductions of children have been reported. What are your views? Join the conversation, share your views on our website www.newsfirst.lk or on our Facebook page.
An individual who had sexually molested and murdered an 8-year-old child in Kathankudi in Batticaloa has been arrested by the police. The suspect was produced before court and placed under remand custody until the 23rd of this month.
The body of the child was found in an abandoned house in the Manjatuai village. The victim's body was dumped inside a fertilizer bag. The police stated that the suspect was a resident from Padiyathalava in Ampara. Meanwhile, a demonstration demanding that legal action be taken against the suspect was organized in the Batticaloa town today.
Moving on to some election news, the casting of ballots on the additional day allocated for the submission of postal votes for the Uva Provincial Council election commenced this morning. Lakmal Kirindagala of the Newsfirst Uva Election Bureau filed this report from Monaragala.
Monoragala, that was battered by a severe drought over the recent past, is currently experiencing a heavy rainfall. However, the rains have not been able to dampen the election fever in this district. Attacks on election propaganda officers were also reported today in Monoragala. Postal votes were also cast in Monoragala today.
The obtaining of a temporary identification ahead of the Uva PC polls will end tomorrow. The Election Secretariat notes that eligible voters who do not possess a valid identification could apply for a temporary identification to be used at polling booths. Applications in this regard could be obtained at Gram Manaladari or Estate Superintendent offices. Meanwhile, the number of complaints received by the Election Secretariat on election law violations in the run-up to the Uva PC polls has risen to 205. 131 complaints have been lodged from the Monroagala district, while 60 complaints have been lodged from the Badulla district. Meanwhile, a police security personnel died in a collision involving a cab belonging to a UNP candidate and a motorbike in Bibila. The police officer who was travelling on the motorbike at the time of the accident was assigned to the Bibila police. According to the police, the accident took place on the Padiyathalava road close to the Mahiyangani roundabout. The victim was a resident of the Madagama area and a father of two. Meanwhile, an unidentified group had vandalized an office of the JVP in the Veheragala area in Monroagala. Just 8 kilometers away from this office, another office of the JVP was vandalized by an unidentified group in the Kahamna area.
The Office of the Elections Commissioner has announced that all offices of candidates in the Uva province should be removed by midnight next Wednesday. It added that on Thursday the 18th, the police and elections observers will examine the progress. We now cross over to Newsfirst Uva Election Bureau correspondent in the Badulla district, Amarasri Bandara, for the latest reports on the elections.
ඌව පළාත් සභා මැතිවරණයේ අද දිනේ සුවිශේෂී දවසක්. අද තමයි තැපැල් ඡන්ද ප්‍රකාශ.
Today is an important day in the run-up to the Uva Provincial Council polls. Today was the final day to cast postal votes for the election. Postal votes were also cast in the Badulla district as well today. A large number of propaganda hoardings that were seen in these areas over the recent past were removed. However, with the departure of the Elections Commissioner from the district, more propaganda hoardings have been set up in the district once again. Meanwhile, temporary roadblocks that can be set up with the use of tar barrels can also be witnessed in many areas, including Mahiyangane. Meanwhile, police officers from other areas who were brought into the Badulla district remain to carry out their duty.
මේක තමයි බදුල්ල දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ ඌව මැතිවරණ කාර්යාංශය අද දවසේ කළ සංචාරයේදී දක්නට ලැබුණු දේවල්.
Well, that was Newsfirst Amarasri Bandara there, filing a report on the election preparations in the Uva province. Well, up next is our special segment, The Battle for Uva.
In the past, our women were told that they can travel from Donrahead to Point Pedro in the night by themselves with the blue sapphire in their hand. Leave aside the blue sapphire. Today, if you walk with half a pound of bread on the streets, the moment the lights go out, and if there is a politician around, you will lose the half a pound of bread and your life. The only thing that has been done for Uva is getting the donations still stolen in Kataragama.
We all know that it is because of the vision of the Mahinda Chintana that we were able to construct bridges and carpet roads and bring about these massive developments for you.
It is all lies. Today everyone is suffering, from the state sector employee to the businessman. A political culture where thugs have entered is prevalent in the country. This must be wiped out. The time has come, so the power of the people must be showed in this election.
This has a big impact to the troubled mind. Even I was born under that red flag. There is a major agenda in place where the only way to attain peace of mind is to create a government under the symbol of the bell. You can drink water from the well to quench your thirst, but you can't drink water from the sea. It will make you thirstier. It is similar to that.
For those who are planning to cast your vote to the beetle leaf on the 20th,
Well, the Daily Mirror headline today read, quote, Mangala asks Sajith to work and show, unquote. Mangala Samravira, who returned to the country following an overseas tour, had expressed these sentiments during a media briefing held at the UMP headquarters, Sirikota, yesterday.
The Daily Mirror reported today that Mangala Samaraveera has commended Sajith Premadasa for joining Ranil Wickramasinghe during the party's 68th anniversary celebration and had hoped that he would stand by his pledge to support Ranil Wickramasinghe to become the next president of the country. Sajith Premadasa, reacting to this statement, says that he will not accept the challenge made by an individual such as Mangala Samarweera, who destroyed the party, who does not have an understanding of the party's rich history, and who does not identify the aspirations of a majority of the party members. The parliamentarian also notes that Mangala Samarweera does not accommodate new trends. In a media communique issued by Sajith Premadasa in reaction to the statements made by Mangala Samarweera during a media briefing, notes that the statements made by Samarweera are vengeful and do not properly assess the party or the Premadasas. Through the release, Sajith Premadasa recollects the work carried out by the Premadasas for the development of the United National Party. He points out that even though there was a difference of opinion between Gamini Disanayake and his father, the Premadasa family fully supported and endorsed the late Gamini Disanayake's presidential bid in 1994. Sajith Premadasa states that Mangala Samarweera is an individual who came to the fore to destroy the character of Ranasinghe Premadasa and to destroy the UNP government, which was in power at the time his father passed away. The release further reads that it is Mangala Samarweera who was responsible for distorting the image of Ranil Wickremesinghe, portraying Ranil Wickremesinghe as Mr. Bean by pasting posters across the country and advertised the slogan Ranil Can't through the media during the 1999 presidential campaign. Sajith Premadasa jogs one's memory about the efforts taken by Mangala Samarweera to attract several UNPers to government ranks. He notes that it is rather ironic that such an individual now acts as the savior of the United National Party. The release goes on to note that in 2001, Mangala Samarweera threatened to leave the country unless the president dissolved the UNP government, which was established with much difficulty. The parliamentarian goes on to point out that when the Janabala Mehayuma was initiated in 2005 to demand for a presidential election, it was Mangala Samarweera who spearheaded a smear campaign to destroy the UNP. Sajith Premadasa notes that Mangala Samarweera entered the UNP after he was stripped of his cabinet portfolio and was left with nothing. He entered under the promise of assuming the mantle of Deputy Prime Minister when returned to power. The release goes on to state that Mangala Samarweera did not enter the political campaign in 2008 and 2009 provincial council polls as he was afraid of losing the polls and was reluctant to take responsibility for it. Quote,
"The entire country is aware that Mangala Samarweera became a member of the UNP in order to contest the 2010 general election from a recognized political party and not because of his love for the UNP. Mangala Samarweera, who entered the UNP as a political refugee, came in second in the district. He was also not even able to increase the UNP voter percentage in the Mathura district during the provincial council polls held in March."
Unquote.
And it's time now for our special segment, Newsline.
රටක ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය රැකෙන්න නම් ශක්තිමත් විපක්ෂයක් තියෙන්න ඕන කියලා හැමෝම කියනවා.
It is an accepted fact that a strong opposition needs to be present in order for democracy to prevail in a country. I believe that President's Counsel Hemantha Warnakulasuriya is of the same opinion. However, is there a strong opposition in the country today?
සුගංග මම ප්‍රථමයෙන්ම කියන්න ඕන මම එක්සත් ජාතික පාක්ෂිකයෙක් නෙවෙයි. මම මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ.
I must first state that I am not a member of the UNP. I support Mahinda Rajapaksa. I am not an SLF peer. However, as an individual who values the development of the country and democracy, I believe that this country needs a strong opposition. There is no opposition in the country today. The opposition is in a state of disrepute. No one takes any notice of the opposition. Therefore, all of us need to take part in the process of creating an opposition.
How did the opposition fall into this position?
පක්ෂයේ දියවුනේ ප්‍රධාන කාරණේ මම හිතන අන්දමට එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ ප්‍රධානතම මං හිතන්නේ ප්‍රතිපත්ති වෙනසක් වුණා.
A significant change in policies took place in the UNP when President J.R. Jayawardena appointed Ranasinghe Premadasa as the Prime Minister. Ranasinghe Premadasa firmly believed that the greatest power lied with the people in the villages and that they accounted for the largest voter base. The United National Party traditionally won urban areas such as Colombo, Kandy and Galle. He went into the villages and changed this. However, Ranil Wickremesinghe heeded wrong advice and reversed this. He created an opposition which was centered around these urban areas. That is why the opposition has become dissolved. People believe that Ranil Wickremesinghe can never become the leader of the country or become the president.
ඒ වගේම මිනිසුන්ට මිනිසුන් පිළිගන්නවා හිතනවා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහතාට කවදාකවත් මේ රටේ නායකකම හෝ ජනාධිපතිකම හෝ ගන්න බැරි වෙයි කියලා දිරන්න බැරි කියලා.
දැන් විපක්ෂයේ ප්‍රධාන පක්ෂය වෙන්නේ එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයෙන්. දැන් අර ගමේ
The United National Party is the main party in the opposition. There is a saying in the villages, when you see the symbol of the elephant, you cast a vote for it. Why hasn't the UNP been able to emerge as a strong opposition against the strong government for a long period?
ජාතික පක්ෂයට මතුවෙන්න බැරි වෙලා තියෙන්නේ මෙච්චර කලක්.
මම හිතන්නේ මේ සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම නායකත්වයේ අනිත් ප්‍රතිපත්තිවල වෙනසක් ඇති යුතුයි. මේ එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය කොළඹින් නගරයෙන් පිටස්තරම ගමට ගෙනියන.
I believe that there should be a change in the leadership as well as the policies of the party. The UNP should be taken from the cities to the villages. You spoke about the elephant. I recollect the late Thunderman had an issue as to why all the workers go to the polling centres and cast their votes for the elephant, and why they didn't cast their ballot for the rooster. The people in the estate sector continue to remain faithful. The symbol of the elephant is what they still vote for.
ඔවුන්ට අලියා තමයි ඔවුන්ගේ ලකුණ ලාංඡනය ඔවුන් ඡන්ද දෙන්න අලියට.
මේතකදී යෝජනා
There was a recent proposal that the UNP does not need both the elephant nor the colour green.
පාටක් තෝරන්නේ කියලා.
මම හිතන්නේ මේ කියලා තියෙන මංගල සමරවීර මහත්තයා මංගල සමරවීර කියන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයෙන් චන්ද්‍රිකා දිහා බලන් ඉඳලා චන්ද්‍රිකාට ආකර්ෂණය වෙලා චන්ද්‍රිකාව අත්හැරලා
I believe this statement was made by Mangala Samaravira. He is a person in the SLFP who was drawn towards Chandrika, then left her and supported Mahinda Rajapaksa to become president. Thereafter, according to my knowledge, as the foreign minister, he carried out a massive conspiracy against the nation. He went to India and made several statements. The president said this to me personally, that the Indian people and the Indian media had addressed the president with disgust due to Mangala Samaravira's statements. He wanted to destroy the image of Mahinda Rajapaksa while being a member of the SLFP. Now he has crossed over to the UNP, and when the party was laying down a good foundation, he is attempting to destroy the party. This is his usual demeanour. He doesn't want the UNP or Mahinda Rajapaksa. All he wants is Chandrika to come into power once again.
දැන් මොකද එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂ විනාශ කරන්න මේක හැමදාම කරපු දමෝට උට එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂ අවශ්‍යත් නැහැ මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂවත් නැහැ අවශ්‍ය නැවත වරක් මේ රටේ චන්ද්‍රික
ඔබතුමා එක්සත් ජාතික පාක්ෂිකයෙක් නෙවෙයි.
You are not a UNPer, so as an outsider you have a better perspective of this issue. Do you believe that the UNP could increase their voter base without the symbol of the elephant or the colour green?
අලියක් නැතුව පාටක් නැතුව කොළ පාට ඡන්ද පදනම වැඩි කරගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා.
මම හිතන්නේ මේක
I believe that this is merely a future aspiration of Mangala Samaravira. He wants to destroy the UNP. I believe that there is no United National Party without the symbol of the elephant or the colour green. If you change both of this, then there won't be a UNP any further. There would be something else. Nearly 2.5 million people in the country continue to vote for the elephant. They vote for the colour green.
එහෙමනම් තියෙන වෙනත් දෙයක්. එම නිසා ජනතාව මේ රටේ තවමත් ලක්ෂ 25ක් වුණ ජනතාව ඡන්ද දෙන්නේ අලියට. ඡන්ද දෙන්නේ කොළ පාටට. අපේ පාට කොළ අපරහ කල බල උන්ගේ පාට නිල කන්නේ තර කොළ කියලා එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය කිව්වේ.
එතකොට ඇයි ජනාධිපති නීතිඥතුමා
Why doesn't the leadership of the party understand this?
නායකයින්ට මේක තේරෙන්නේ නැද්ද?
මම හිතන්නේ පක්ෂයේ නායකයන්ගේ සියලුම මම හිතන්නේ පක්ෂයේ සියලුම සමාජයෙන් මේක තේරෙනවා. ඉතින් මේක වෙලා තියෙන්නේ මේක විශාල පසුබිමක් තියෙනවානේ දැන් කවුරුත් පිළිගන්නවා. අපි සරියුදාම් විශ්වාස කරනවා මේ වෙබ් මාෆියාවක් තියෙනවා.
I believe that all members of the party understand this. However, there is a background story. Everyone believes that there is a massive web mafia. What these people do is they post stories of the president, his wife, sons as well as the SLFP government which are completely false. They even use profanity. This is being headed by an individual known as the Godfather, and he is an associate of Mangala Samaravira. I got to know this recently while working on a case filed by Mangala Samaravira. One of the main names mentioned during the case was that of the Godfather, someone from Mathura. There is a fear that he would post something if they work against him. He has got a hold of the UNP leadership. If the UNP leadership wants to go to the people of the country, they have to break free from his clutches. If he is capable of posting such profane stories about the president and destroy the country in the process, if he is capable of plotting with international forces to topple the government and still addresses the president as a brother, then I can't imagine why the same people could talk with Sajid Premadasa and unite everyone. It can be done. It's not being done because of his future aspirations. He wants to destroy Ranil Wickremesinghe, the UNP and everyone else.
මේ රජය පෙරලන්නකෝ මන්ත්‍රීකම කරන අයට පුළුවන් නම් නැවත වරක් මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ ජනාධිපතිතුමාත් කතා කරන සහෝදරයෙක් වශයෙන් මට හිතා ගන්න බෑ ඇයි සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාසට මේ කතා කරලා මේ සියලුම එක්කව වෙලා මේ දේ කරන්න ඕනද එහෙම කරන්න පුළුවන් කරන්නේ නැත්තේ අනාගත බලාපොරොත්තුව එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ සියලු දෙනා විනාශ
එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය
People say that outsiders are now controlling the United National Party. Is there any truth behind these allegations?
As an outsider, I believe that this is completely true. Who is Vijayadasa Rajapaksa? He was a minister in the Mahinda Rajapaksa government. Who is Ravi Karunayaka? He was someone who was appointed by Chandrika. He first came to the fore under the symbol of the eagle. They are not UNPers. Who is Mangala Samaravira? I believe that they are attempting to control the UNP because of its leaders' weakness. No one is against them joining the UNP and working for its development. However, they are attempting to change this. The UNP is one of the oldest political parties in the country. It was created by great leaders like T.S.N. Anayaka. Green usually symbolized the Muslim community, and the elephant still continues to carry the casket of the tooth relic. They combined this to create the UNP. However, if outsiders try to change this, then the whole concept of the UNP, the reason why people cast their vote for the UNP, will be lost. There are many people like Sajith Premadasa who work tirelessly for the victory of the party. They should be brought forward and you should develop plans with them. There is no problem with outsiders coming into the party. However, they should not be given the opportunity to change the agenda of the party. This happened once when D.P. Wijetunga changed the entire policy of the Premadasa government. It was then that the party was first destroyed.
ප්‍රේමදාස ප්‍රතිපත්ති වෙනස් කරා. වෙනස් කළා විනාශ වුණා එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය.
You said yourself that you are a supporter of Mahinda Rajapaksa. Then why is such a person speaking so passionately about the UNP?
ඇයි මෙතරම් මේ එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය ගැන කතා කරන්නේ?
එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය කියන්නේ
The UNP is the largest opposition force in the country. Even though I am a supporter of Mahinda Rajapaksa, I am someone who respects democracy. I respect the independence of the judiciary. I respect the democratic governing process. In such a democratic background, we need a strong opposition. That is why I state that a strong opposition needs to be present to point out the flaws of the government. Mangala Samaravira is someone who attempted to destroy the SLFP and Mahinda Rajapaksa. Similarly, he has now entered the UNP along with his associates and created a useless leadership council. Now they are acting out a comedy. What happened to the leadership council? Didn't it spearhead elections? Still they lost. Do the people of the country love and respect them? No. This is the truth. A political party must be for the people. It has to go before the public. Ran Singha Premadasa was a people's politician. Lalit Athurat Mudali, Gamini Disanayaka, they were politicians who were with the people. There are no longer any characters like them. The only person who has a fraction of resemblance is Sajith Premadasa. Who else is there?
President's Counsel Hemanta Warnakula Surya is of the opinion that a political party should be with the people and work for their betterment. He also opined that the identity of the UNP is the colour green and the elephant. Destroying this would lead to the destruction of the UNP. Let us wait and see whether the leadership of the UNP are capable of safeguarding the elephant and the colour green.
අපි බලා ඉඳිමු එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ නායකත්වය අලියයි කොළ පාටයි රැකගනිවිද කියලා.
Yesterday, Newsfirst commenced an opinion poll on whether Ranil Wickremesinghe will appoint Sajith Premadasa as the deputy leader of the UNP. This is the response we have received thus far.
Votes cast via SMS and on Newsfirst website www.newsfirst.lk indicate that 69.77% believe that Sajith Premadasa will be appointed deputy leader. However, 30.21% are of the view that Ranil Wickremesinghe will not appoint Sajith Premadasa to the post of deputy leader. We will announce the final results of this poll tomorrow.
Now shifting our focus back to the Uva Provincial Council elections, Minister Dallas Allaperama says that he only expects an honourable victory at the upcoming polls. The minister made this statement at a media briefing held today.
A media briefing organized by lecturers and professors from 5 national universities was convened today in order to discuss the development in which has taken place over the past 5 years in the Uva province.
ජනතා විමුක්ති පෙරමුණ මෙතන ව්‍යාපාරයට අවතීර්ණ වුණේ ඉතාම බරපතල චෝදනාවක් එල්ල කරමින්.
The JVP entered the election campaign by levelling a serious allegation. They showed 26 liquor licenses and charged that they were issued by the government of Mahinda Rajapaksa. Names and addresses were also mentioned. The identities of the owners were revealed. I am indeed disappointed that my friend Samantha Vidyaratna concealed the vital portion of this expose. My friends, as a minister and as a citizen, I would like to responsibly state that none of those licenses were issued by President Mahinda Rajapaksa's government. These licenses were issued during the time of Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga's government. I am ready to resign from my post as minister if anyone can prove that this is false.
මම අමාත්‍ය දුරෙන් ඉල්ලාස් වෙන සූදානම්. ඒකම නෙමෙයි කියලා කවුරු ඔප්පු කරනවා නම්.
Journalists questioned whether there were any interferences from the underworld in the Uva Provincial Council polls.
There are no people involved in the underworld in the Munraga district or Uva province. Is there anyone to help us? Yes. I don't know what the underworld is and who is in the underworld. I think it would be better if those in the underworld and those who are alleged to have committed wrongs are identified. I am stating responsibly that a defender is not a weapon but a vehicle which runs on 4 wheels. I do not know why people are scared of defenders. Even supporters of the UNP and the JVP use defenders.
In a media briefing held yesterday, the election commissioner mentioned that the Munraga district does not have favorable conditions to hold elections.
No, I do not accept that. A team from the election commissioner took measures to remove an election office that was erected illegally. Remember that it is not winning that is important. We do not want a victory that is not honorable.
Up next is Action TV.
For a certain period of time, it has been deemed dangerous for vessels to set off to sea from the Modara Fisheries Harbour in Mortua. This is also a major risk when entering the fisheries harbour from sea. Although only a simple act needs to be done to mitigate the risks, the Ceylon Fishery Harbours Corporation has not taken the value of life very seriously. This carelessness resulted in 2 fishermen losing their lives this morning. This boat, which carried 4 fishermen, including the 2 victims, had toppled when they attempted to enter the fisheries harbour with their catch.
If a breakwater or a rock barrier is not put in place, more lives will be lost. We have to look after our own safety. No one is doing anything about it. They only come here to take a look and it just stops there.
There is an immediate need to remove the sandbanks in the harbour and create a proper breakwater system. Yet, not far from the fisheries harbour, sand is being mined for a certain period of time under a contract initiated by the Ceylon Fishery Harbours Corporation.
We brought this machine over here. We have no way to set off to sea from here. All they want is to protect what they have. A group of persons came here, the Dura map, and said to mine away from here. They are mining sand as they please. If a big vessel arrives, it is in danger. People may die as a result of this.
A sand mining operation is taking place in Mortua under the guise of expanding the Modara Fisheries Harbour. Shouldn't this act that is making the harbour a death trap for fishermen and other vessels be stopped? Secretary to the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Development, this is over to you.
Still in local news, 3 people were injured in an accident that took place in the Gotakavala Palleb at the main road this afternoon. A truck collided into a car, causing the car to topple into the Rakwana. The driver of the truck and 2 individuals who were travelling in the car were injured and are currently receiving treatment at the Gotakavala and Ambilipitiya hospitals.
An event was held to mark the 17th annual commemoration of M.A. Bakir Maka. A book written in Tamil language on the life of Bakir Maka titled Yugapurusha Bakir Maka, written by Mrs. Fatima Mukhtar, was also launched at the event.
A distinguished gathering including a number of ministers were present at the event. The commemoration lecture at the event was delivered by the President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, Upul Jayasuriya.
He was a politician, a professional, and above all, a gentleman par excellence. Sad to say that in the national arena, to say the least, he is a dying breed. He displayed professionalism in politics and in law. Where has it all begun? The values. The values that we all treasured and embraced generation to generation have dwindled in no uncertain terms. Its main responsibility lies with the political leadership. It is a rare commodity even amongst the rulers. If those who set the rules have no respect to rule, who guard the guards? Law enforcement authorities, the Election Commission, Bribery Commission, the Public Service Commission and the Police Service have all fallen a prey and are governed by rule of the thumb, with the appointments being made with total arbitrariness and are burdened with having to pay homage to the appointing authority in the pursuit of perks and the luxuries of office. Let's look at the police service. Police act with impunity within different cells. Each cell is unaware of the activities of the other. Our police force is most intelligent, but their weakness is that they think that the others are not. In crucial times, they have to take these instructions from the politicians. Their powers are now vested with the Army, Navy and the Air Force under and by virtue of the Public Securities Ordinance. Eknaligoda, Lasanta Vikramatunga, Kugan and the incidents in Alutgama, Darga Town and Beruala are some of the duties they have to discharge. In Beruala they use some gaseous substance that are not commonly available. Some have the license to abduct, loot and or commit arson, and some have the license to kill. Of course, they are not without reward. Ratu Paswala, Nitabua and Badulla are a few of the rewards to the service personnel. The official killers are not charged. Some are blessed with the fortune to carry on in service for many years after the retirement age.
And with that, we wrap up this edition of Prime Time News on Newsfirst. I'm Madhushka Balasuriya.
And I'm Mahina Bongso. It was a pleasure having you with us here as always. Good night.
Thanks for stopping by.